Well, this one hurts. And I felt inspired to kind of do an impromptu video about him. So, in this video for the Borealis company, we're going to take a look at Ozzy Osbourne, not just as a musician, but as a storyteller. And I really want to highlight 3 elements of how he tells a story with a song that I really only heard actually for the first time this week as he passed, and that is Mama, I'm Coming Home. Now, you may be wondering why this video is quiet, and that's because if YouTube is very stingy about copyright for film, they are worse so with music. To put in perspective, the only video that's ever gotten a copyright strike on my channel thus far was my video on Depeche Mode, and it featured 0 music by them. So, not to say that I'm expecting the same thing with this, but I am going to be making 2 different versions of this video. The one that you're watching right now on YouTube, and another one that should be coming out pretty soon, or at least sooner than later, on my Patreon, which will include the music. So, keep an eye out for that. Now, because this is so new, I really wanted to focus on 3 major storytelling elements and just kind of find conclusions along the way. But firstly, I really want to talk about the lyrics of this song. This was not a narrative that I was expecting, but it seems to be kind of on brand for Ozzy, and the very little that I know about his backstory and his history. But I love his ability to just give you barely enough details that you have to fill in the blanks for yourself. With lyrics like, times have changed and times are strange, here I come but I ain't the same, mama I'm coming home. Already kind of giving this implication of a hero's journey and this growth, but there's also a lot of reflection on how things used to be and how that wasn't really the best. You took me in and you drove me out. You had me hypnotized, lost and found and turned around by the fire in your eyes. You made me cry, you told me lies, but I can't stand to say goodbye. Mama, I'm coming home. And obviously, the songwriter never has enough room to fill an entire novel with their lyrics. But what I found about this song so fascinating was you get so much of the trials and the tribulations that have gone through this story without getting explicit detail. Really, what I'm getting at here is Ozzy Osbourne, along with the co-writers of the song, were masterful at subtext and the ability to just say so much with so little, and being able to create such a complex and diverse protagonist from this kind of story. Now, the second thing I want to talk about with Mama, I'm Coming Home is the composition and the effects and the way that the song is kind of constructed. Now, music is not my first go-to, it's film, so there's still a lot of things that I am learning along the way. But it's so funny, I can immediately tell that this is from the album No More Tears because the rest of the album sounds very similar to this. But what I thought was really profound, and I think this is kind of what drove the point home with the subtext of the lyrics, is the way that reverb and delay are used in this song. So from my understanding, reverb and delay sound the exact same to the untrained ear, but they're actually pretty different. They're different in the way that yelling in a fish barrel is different than yelling in a canyon, where a reverb is basically just a duplication of one sound, but set up at different times so that it sounds bigger or fuller, versus a delay is more of like an echo where it just kind of bounces that sound wave back at a certain amount of time. Correct me if I'm wrong, you're more than welcome to, but every time I hear this song, there's always a feeling that I'm listening to a distant memory or the distant past somehow. And I think that really helps reinforce and guides the subtext in a certain direction of longing, of how things used to be, and how those aren't the case anymore. And I think that's also another reason why this song had gotten so popular during Ozzy's death. I think a lot of the audience and a lot of the fans can really feel that through the composition. Even if the lyrics were about something completely different, yes, it would change the meaning of the song, but I think that emotional resonance would still be there because of how the effects are used in the song itself. And finally, just very, very briefly, I want to talk about the music theory of Mama, I'm Coming Home. So I've been really fascinated with how certain notes and certain scales elicit a certain feeling, right? Like, if you want to tell a certain story in the music, you should use a certain scale to amplify it, or use a different scale to create a deliberate meaning behind it. On that note, Mama, I'm Coming Home was written in E-flat major, which sounds paradoxical to me, right? Because typically a major scale is uplifted and happy and jovial, right? It's all over the pop genre, versus minor is more melancholy, it's sadder, it's not grimmer, but it can get there, right? Basically, major is light, minor is dark. That's kind of how most average Joes tend to perceive music theory in general. So when I hear that the tonic key of a major scale is in a flat, or to use my old logic, a black key instead of a white key, it doesn't make sense to me. But after kind of doing some more research on that scale, there's a sense of bittersweetness to it, which again really drives home the story of this song, in addition to the lyrics and the composition and the sound design of the song. Ozzy picked a scale that was designed to feel conflicted, where there is that sense of relief and joy that comes with coming home, but the sadness of the memories that come with it, right? It's almost like a feeling of calloused joy, right? It's feeling uplifted, but you don't feel naive about what's going on. And maybe in the context of the narrative, it's having a complicated relationship, but coming back hopeful or wiser than you were before to know what's really going on. So, in total, Ozzy Osbourne, I always knew was a brilliant musician. I mean, he is the reason why metal and rock in general is what it is today. We would not have these genres if it wasn't for him. But at the same time, he was so much more than just a frontman. He was actually a very brilliant and strategic storyteller, which you can see with this. You can see with the subtext of the lyrics. You can see this with the kind of frosting on the cake that is the reverb and the delay. And you see this in the musical integrity of the song with something as complicated as E-flat major. And being able to combine all those ingredients together is what makes a powerful story. And it's what made Ozzy Osbourne such a memorable storyteller. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you like this, please subscribe. Please like this video so that we can spread this information to more people who are interested in it, who want to learn more about storytelling. Again, if you want to hear this version with the song, feel free to check out my Patreon. And I want to know in the comments below, what was your favorite Ozzy Osbourne song? And was it when he was solo, or was it a Black Sabbath song?
Keep on going, folks. Oh my God.